Welcome back, my wonderful friends, to our channel. If you are a fan of amazing dramas and captivating stories, you are exactly in the right place. In today's video, we have prepared a recap of an incredible series that will steal your heart from the very first moment and make you live every single detail alongside the characters. Before we dive into the events, please support us by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment below with your thoughts. Your support helps our family grow even bigger. Grab your favorite drink and let's begin. The series begins with the female lead working as a cook in a restaurant, and her dream is to travel abroad to study cooking. She gets a job at a famous place to be able to save up the necessary money for the trip. At the same time, the male lead sits with his girlfriend and tells her that their relationship is over because he is returning to his country. His girlfriend gets angry, pulls out a gun, and shoots him. He flees from her inside the hotel and says, "I don't know if you really love me or if you were just waiting for the chance to kill me." We return to the female lead, who lives in a shared house with her roommate. She returns from work at the exact same time her roommate is leaving for his job. He advises her to wake up early so she won't be late. She enters the house but finds no food or anything else. Instead, she only finds a note he left for her, containing a list of all the household chores she must do in exchange for not paying rent. She finishes all the chores, reviews her travel expenses, and realizes she has only a small amount of money left to save before she can travel abroad. She is extremely happy, but then she starts to feel hungry. As she looks out the window, she sees the church and realizes they are distributing food to the poor. She says, "Well, I'm poor too," and goes there to eat. In the church, a woman is praying, and the male lead, whom we learn is her son, is sitting next to her. The male lead sits next to the female lead. When the prayer ends, the woman takes the male lead aside and asks him if he is going to meet his father for the inheritance. She scolds him for his appearance, which is unbecoming of someone in a church. The female lead, who is still eating, listens to this entire conversation. The male lead sees her putting eggs into her pocket, so he gives her plenty of food so she won't tell anyone what she saw. The female lead then meets with Yoon, who is going to help her travel. She discovers that she only has a small amount left to complete the full amount, and that Yoon will cover the rest. We then see the female lead's mother calling her, but she doesn't answer. The female lead remembers when she stole money from her mother while she was asleep, just so she could pursue her dream. She sends her mother a message apologizing and promising to return double the amount of money once she achieves her dream. Meanwhile, the male lead's friends call him wanting to celebrate, but he feels annoyed because they are only using him. Nevertheless, he meets up with them, and it happens that the female lead is working at the same venue serving food. She finds some money on the floor and takes it, prompting the friends to mock her. She feels upset, takes the money, and leaves. Her roommate opens the door, only to bump into the male lead, who is annoyed that she took the money, wondering why she treats herself this way. Then, the sister of one of the friends appears and joins the party. It is clearly obvious that she is interested in the male lead, but he does not feel comfortable with her. His friends turn off the lights, and he hallucinates a robbery scene, revealing that he suffers from nightmares about a friend who died whom he couldn't save. He leaves after telling his friends that he hates being around them. At the company where the female lead's roommate works, he presents an idea to improve their product, but the company's president says the budget is unavailable. Later, the president of the company goes to his office and finds the male lead there. We learn that the male lead is his brother. He asks him why he returned, and the male lead answers that it's about their grandfather's inheritance. Later, the male lead calls his mother and tells her that he met his brother and that he will wait for her outside the church because he is hungry. While he's there, he sees the female lead selling simple accessories and assumes she will do anything for money. That night, she and her roommate eat together, and she tells him about the movie Ratatouille. She says she wants to travel and cook just like in the movie. He feels upset because she is going to travel, but she tells him to visit her. They hear about a company party and decide to work there too. The next day at the party, her roommate worries about her because she hasn't slept. She tells him, "As long as they are paying money, I don't need to sleep." The male lead is also at the party with his brother, who asks him not to overdrink. The exhausted female lead tries to lean on him while pouring his drink. He pushes her away. She falls, gets injured, and screams at him in anger. Suddenly, he sees his ex-girlfriend, who once tried to shoot him. He quickly drags the female lead along with him and pretends she is his new girlfriend to make his ex-girlfriend jealous. The ex-girlfriend challenges the female lead, saying that if she wins, she will leave him alone. The male lead suggests a drinking contest, and the female lead agrees in exchange for money. He promises to give her whatever she wants if she helps him. She wins the contest but faints from drinking. The male lead takes her to his hotel, takes her phone, and calls her roommate to come and pick her up. He shows the roommate the money, saying it is her pay, and gives him his number so she can contact him. When she wakes up, she looks for the money. Her roommate tells her that she left it with the male lead and asks her what is going on between them. She gets angry, hits him, and denies everything. Then she receives a message from Yoon asking to meet her. She gives Yoon the money she has and promises the rest later. Yoon hands her the ticket and asks her to send the required documents within 2 days. The female lead is overjoyed and finishes all her work before leaving. Meanwhile, the male lead's father and uncle go to claim the inheritance, but they discover that the grandfather divided everything among his daughters, depriving the male lead's father of the inheritance because he abandoned his wife. The female lead packs her bags, but cannot reach Yoon. She finds out her phone is switched off and begins to suspect she has been scammed. She calls her mother just to hear her voice without speaking. Then she visits the man who always used to find her work. Suddenly, a gang storms the place, attacks the workers, and throws her phone away. The police arrive and arrest all of them, including her. She cries and calls out to the detective, begging him to find her phone and track down Yoon. He tells her she should have verified Yoon's story before giving her the money. She looks for Yoon at her workplace and is told that she has resigned and traveled abroad to study. The address she was given is completely quiet and deserted. Her tears fall hot and sudden as she realizes the ugly truth. The money she had been saving, the tiny lifeline she trusted to help her friend survive, was accepted with kind, loving words, only to be used to buy a plane ticket to leave and fly away. On board the plane, Yoon leans on her lover, smiling as the city fades and grows smaller beneath them. As for the female lead, shocked and broken by grief, she staggers down to the riverbank, trembling at the edge while the weight of the betrayal threatens to sweep her under. The police call her roommate, and he finds her crying. She insists there was a monster in the water, remembering what she saw before she jumped. So he comforts her by the shore. She thanks him and says she won't give up on her dream, even if she has to start all over again. The male lead's mother asks him not to leave, gives him a flash drive from his grandfather, and asks him to promise her that he won't travel again. On the flash drive, the grandfather tells him about a house called the Treasure House, leaving it to him and asking him to take care of it. The female lead finds her phone in the gang's hideout, along with a note containing the male lead's number. She calls him and demands her money, so he gives her the address of the treasure house. When he arrives there, he is surprised to find that it is indeed a house full of treasures. She appears and calls out to him, but he is wearing earbuds, so she screams to scare and startle him. When she trips, he catches her, but she accidentally breaks his expensive watch. He angrily demands she pay for it, asking for gold in return. She objects, saying she will only pay for the repair, even if it takes years. He warns her against trying to trick him and says she must always answer his calls from now on. She leaves annoyed and calls him a villain. Back home, broke and desperate, she regrets everything. Meanwhile, the male lead tells his mother that his grandfather left him debts and old books. His mother recalls that the lawyer gave her the flash drive, but hid another part of the inheritance. The male lead begins reading the old books, wondering what to do. The female lead looks sadly at the clothes she had prepared for her trip, thinking about her debt to him. She decides that she will work multiple jobs to pay it back. Her roommate invites her to dinner, but she goes to the church instead, crying. The male lead's mother sees her and comforts her, as the female lead is shocked to realize from whom she stole her mother's money. In the end, she was scammed, and all her money was stolen. She pulls herself together and tells herself that God will forgive her. As she walks, she decides to participate in a contest and wins eggs, becoming happy because God has forgiven her just as her mother forgave her. When the male lead's colleague finishes his work and leaves, the male lead comes to his brother because he wants to get money from him. The female lead is outside waiting for her roommate and listens to them agreeing to have dinner. The male lead tells his brother that he is starving, really starving, so they go to have dinner together at the same place. He joins them along with his brother, and the female lead's brother decides to take the deed of their house to get a loan. Their mother finds out about this, runs after him with a bat, and says, "Take this, my son." He gets scared and flees to the street, calling the female lead's roommate. We learn that they have been friends since they were young. They say to each other, "You are like my brother, and I will see you in the village. God willing, I will come to live with you." The male lead then goes to stay at his brother's house. The next day, his brother talks to him and says he must rely on himself. The male lead feels that his brother is annoyed by his presence and decides to leave. The female lead goes to eat at a restaurant, and the restaurant owner is arguing with a young man who didn't pay the bill. The female lead hears him saying, "I don't have money, but I will return it to you." She realizes he is a stranger in town and decides to pay the bill for him. He thanks her and tells her his name is Song. He takes her number and says, "You are my first friend here." As she is leaving, the male lead calls her and tells her she must come to him. He tells her she has to clean that entire house in exchange for the debt she owes. She starts tidying up the place. Then the lizard woman appears, which annoys the female lead. Later, when she leaves, she goes home to find that her roommate has prepared everything for her. They sit and eat together to cheer her up because she is upset and doesn't want to talk. Meanwhile, the female lead's mother and siblings sit together eating, and the mother is worried about her daughter, wishing she could check on her. The next day, we see the male lead sitting with his family eating and telling them he has decided to work. His family is happy for him, and he asks his mother for funding for his charitable project. She says she will go to thank God and leaves. Then his father says, "Oh, my wallet is empty. I forgot to tell you, didn't I?" And when he asks his older brother, the brother says, "Of course, kid, your project is a failure, so I won't invest in something doomed to fail." fail. Later, they go to the market with their father, and the male lead is still trying to convince his brother, who tells him, "I will think about it later." The next day, they go to the company where an event is being held to promote their product. The male lead serves drinks and sees the female lead, so he goes to talk to her. After that, their friends meet Song, the young man who was at the restaurant. The female lead tells them that she invited him to eat. Song trips over a camera wire, so the male lead motions to the female lead to be careful. He runs to save her, but ends up getting injured instead of her. The ambulance takes him, and at the hospital, he checks on her. The nurse says she is just exhausted. The female lead later leaves with her roommate, while the male lead returns to his brother's house. The male lead takes advantage of the moment when his brother asks about his injured arm and shows concern for him. Finally, his brother decides to give him the money he wanted. He asks for his bank account number, but says, "Don't think I'm giving it to you for free, my dear. You will pay me back in installments, and I will also take grandfather's house from you." The male lead is displeased because the amount is small, wondering what he will do with it. He calls the female lead and asks her to come. They go shopping together to buy furniture and supplies for the project. When the male lead tells his mother that he is going to open a bar, she gets angry, but his father supports him. The male lead plans to take his father's car and sell it. He prepares the place for the project and asks the female lead to work with him. She hesitates, but then says she will be in charge of the kitchen since she is a cook. Later, the male lead meets with the doctor and gets medication, and we learn that he is being treated for the nightmares caused by his friend's death. Everyone decides to help him and volunteer in the kitchen. However, the female owner of the company treats him poorly because she holds him responsible for her son's death. Meanwhile, her daughter actually loves the male lead and works at the company. She says to him one day while they are eating, "Why do you keep putting up with my mother's treatment and continue working with her?" He goes to her office and remembers when her husband entrusted the company to her and him. Meanwhile, the female lead goes to collect her wages. The woman gives her the money but tells her not to come back because her daughter is getting married and needs more work. The female lead leaves upset and sees a picture of the Eiffel Tower on the street. She takes a photo next to it and sends it to her mother to reassure her, making her mother believe she has traveled abroad. But she doesn't tell her the truth, which is that she was scammed and all her money was stolen. When she returns, she tells her roommate. He asks if she is okay, and she says she brings trouble to everyone around her and apologizes to him for causing him problems too. Later, when she goes to work at the male lead's place, she discovers that he has dyed his hair blue again. She cleans the place, then goes out to hang an advertisement for the bar. She returns with her friend Song and asks the male lead to hire him as well. The male lead agrees because she vouches for him. Then a girl named Lee walks in, asking if they need more staff. Since she is skilled in making drinks, the male lead hires her too. Everyone agrees on the working hours and leaves, except for the female lead, who stays behind to finish cleaning. The lizard woman calls the male lead, so he goes to her. She is with her friends and tells them that they are getting married. He does not respond and leaves. Whenever she tries to do that, he warns her not to repeat it again. The next day, on the anniversary of his late friend's birthday, he goes to visit his grave. As he is leaving, his late friend's mother tells him never to come again. He walks away upset, remembering when his friend died and how his friend's mother told him he would go to hell because he was the reason for his friend's death. Meanwhile, Song calls the female lead and asks her to hurry. She goes and finds that his musical instruments have been damaged by the rain, so she helps him gather them and comforts him. She remembers the bar's opening and goes to get ready. The lizard woman appears to ask about the male lead on his birthday and even brings him a gift. She asks the female lead about him, but she says she doesn't know, so the lizard woman leaves the gift with her and departs. When the male lead returns, he is upset. He tells the female lead that as soon as she is finished, she must leave. When she tries to comfort him, he treats her badly and insults her. She gets angry and leaves, saying, "I'll let this slide for now, but next time, watch out." On her way, she finds a cat and takes it with her. Then remembers she left her bag at the male lead's place. She returns to get it, and he asks her to stay because he doesn't feel well. She gets angry in the building, but he apologizes to her afterwards. She feeds the cat, and he gives her clothes to wear instead of her wet ones. After she leaves, the power goes out. His nightmares haunt him again, but as soon as the light returns, his mind is at ease. When the female lead returns, her roommate asks her about the clothes she is wearing, and she tells him she borrowed them from someone. Meanwhile, the female lead's brother sees job advertisements in the city where his sister went to work and says he must find a place to stay when he works there too. In the morning, the team gathers at the bar wearing their uniforms. They are happy to see the cat and play with it. When the male lead arrives, he asks them to get rid of the cat, but the female lead says she will leave if they get rid of it. So he agrees to keep the cat in exchange for her forgiving him for his behavior yesterday. They discuss the food they will serve to customers and decide to prepare the best dishes to make a good start. At the company, the lizard woman tells the female lead's roommate that she is hiding something from him. When he asks her what it is, she says, "Go ask her yourself." Customers actually start coming to the bar, and the male lead and his team are happy about it. They suggest special drinks that the customers like. When the female lead sees him laughing with other girls, she feels jealous. His family also comes to attend the grand opening. His mother does not approve of the project, but she sees the female lead and remembers meeting her at the church. She welcomes her warmly and begins to show more interest toward the male lead or the female lead. Everyone starts singing in this celebration. The female lead's roommate goes to the lizard woman and asks her what the female lead is hiding. She tells him that she is working with the male lead at the bar. The male lead's brother goes to see how things are going. The male lead offers him a drink, but his brother refuses, saying he must get back to work. The owner of the neighboring cafe arrives angry, thinking that the male lead opened a cafe to steal his customers. The male lead says to him, "No, my dear, it's not a cafe." The man says, "Oh, I misunderstood you, son. Well, okay, but I will keep an eye on you, and if you ever turn this place into a cafe, I won't let it slide easily." After work, the male lead walks the female lead home. Her roommate sees them from the window. When she enters, he is upset because she hid the truth about working with the male lead from him. She tries to cheer him up and make him laugh, but he shouts in her face and confesses his love for her. Then there is a knock on the door, and it turns out to be her brother. Her roommate hides because she had told her family that she had already traveled abroad. Her brother stays until she is forced to leave, and when her roommate asks him why he came, he says, "I'm going to stay here with you," which shocks the roommate. Exhausted from walking, the female lead arrives at the male lead's place and sleeps in the storage room. When she wakes up, she sees him coming down from his room, so she hides so he won't see her. But when he leaves, she walks out only to find him waiting for her at the door. Both of them are surprised. She says to him, "I came early because I like working early, so I thought I'd do a little cleaning." Her roommate calls her and tells her that her brother will continue staying with him, and since he has already met her, he will return her thanks to her. Then he hangs up and goes to meet the lizard woman. They agree to work together because they have a common interest. She asks him to invite the female lead to dinner and gives him a ticket to a concert. Back at the bar, it is empty and the male lead feels annoyed. The female lead tells him they cannot work during the day. She goes out to feed the cat and meets Lee, who gives her a concert ticket to go with the male lead. Later, the team discusses ideas to attract customers, and Lee suggests offering discounts. The male lead likes the idea, so they distribute discount coupons on the street. The cafe owner sees the female lead distributing the coupons. He gets angry and tears them up. The female lead waits for her roommate, and he brings her her bag. When he suggests that she rent an apartment and says he will help her with the rent, she refuses. And when he asks her if she was comfortable in his house, she says absolutely. Then she apologizes, saying she was a complete burden to him, just like her brother. Exactly. When he asks her about her relationship with the male lead, she feels confused. He gets upset and asks her where she will sleep now. She says she doesn't know, but she will manage. He tells her she can rely on herself, so she jokes with him, saying, "Easy for you to say. I left a lion behind me." We see the mother of the male lead's deceased friend taking her daughter to a restaurant and bringing a prospective groom to propose to her. When the girl finds out, she leaves the place angry. The mother apologizes to the suitor, runs after her daughter and fights with her, telling her that she cannot behave this way. The female lead then decides to stay at the male lead's house. She sees him running outside, so she hides. He was going to pick up the chameleon girl who was drunk. While cleaning, the female lead's colleague finds the paper on which she was calculating her travel expenses. He remembers when she ran away from her mother and stole the money crying, and how he brought her sweets to make her happy. Now, the female lead is making sweets for the male lead, trying to make him happy too. She asks him if he would like to go with her to a concert. At that moment, the chameleon girl arrives, bringing food with her. They all eat together, but she tries to feed the male lead, so he pushes her hand away and tells her to stop being ridiculous. The food spills on her, and when he goes to get napkins, the chameleon girl tells the female lead that she and the male lead are dating. Later, the colleague and Song agree on something which upsets the female lead. She hides the tickets inside the male lead's book, so he finds them. The chameleon girl goes to the colleague and asks him how things went, and he replies that the female lead is not interested in him. He returns the ticket to her. She calls the male lead to go out together, but he says he's tired, so she asks the colleague to go with her instead of him. Then the male lead invites the female lead to dinner, bringing the ticket she was looking for, and they watch the concert together. She is upset because he's doing this while he's supposedly with another girl. He tells her that she, the chameleon girl, is out with her manager right now, and takes her to a French restaurant, where she happily tells him that she wants to study cooking in France. Meanwhile, the chameleon girl and the colleague go to the concert together. Each of them recalls memories from the past. Upon leaving, they are shocked to see the female lead with the male lead. The chameleon girl accuses the female lead of stealing her man. The colleague defends her, demanding that she apologize. The male lead yells in his face, takes the chameleon girl away, and demands that she apologizes. She begs him not to abandon her. The colleague warns the female lead that these people belong to a completely different world from theirs. She says she knows that and leaves. Later, the male lead finds her outside his house. When he asks her why she is there, she confesses that she loves him. He tells her not to love him. She walks away sadly, eating the sweets he once gave her. At the company, the chameleon girl accidentally overhears female employees spreading rumors that she underwent plastic surgery. She confronts them, claiming her beauty is natural, and leaves only to bump into the colleague, who reminds her that she must apologize to the female lead. The female lead works at the bar, ignoring the male lead. The friends notice this tension between them. She goes out to take out the trash and finds a hungry man sleeping there, so she gives him food. Later, Song and Lee invite her to attend a concert. The colleague finds a letter at home from her brother listing his goals, which include dating a rich girl and living off her. He gets angry. The female lead gets ready for Song's concert. The male lead sees her leaving, honks his car horn, but then drives away. At the concert, Song sings and the crowd is happy. The male lead joins her, but while dancing, she accidentally hurts his leg. Later, she tells him that she shouldn't love him because the chameleon girl fits his world. She is the rich daughter of a company owner. As for her, she is just a poor cook who once tried to escape her life with stolen money and got scammed. She says her life is a mess. He tells her there is more to life, confessing that he hates the night because of the nightmares that haunt him. She feels sorry for him but leaves embarrassed. Later, she meets her colleague and gives him a banana with a cute scribble drawn on it. He asks her if she is still working with the male lead despite what the chameleon girl told her. When she says that work is separate, he gets angry and tells her that if she were a man, he would have beaten her. Then he confesses that he regrets not expressing his feelings to her. Meanwhile, the chameleon girl's mother scolds her daughter for ruining things with the suitor and tells her to move out and live on her own. The female lead sneaks back into the male lead's storage room to sleep there. He notices this, plays with the cat, and realizes that he loves her. The next day, Song thinks about selling his golden elephant to buy new musical instruments, and Lee breaks off a piece of it so they can sell it. The chameleon girl's mother visits the male lead's brother, begging him to keep the male lead away from her daughter, holding him responsible for her son's death. Later, Song and Lee invite the female lead to dinner, but the male lead stops her, saying the cat is sick. They buy supplies and a pillow for her, and he tells her that she can rest in the storage room anytime. During dinner, she discovers that Song is actually a prince who left his country because he wasn't allowed to sing there. Her brother sees her meeting her colleague. He's shocked and chases her, demanding to know why she lied about being in France. She cries, saying that her money was stolen, so he cries too and asks her to return home. She begs him not to tell their mother, promising to return the money. Later, the male lead learns that the female lead has a cold, so he buys her medicine. Meanwhile, the chameleon girl lies to the male lead's brother, saying that she and the male lead are dating. The male lead brings the female lead a drink, confessing his love for her, but stating that he cannot be with her. She tries to leave, feeling sad. He stops her, confessing that he was the reason for his friend's death, and tells her the whole story. She comforts him and insists that it wasn't his fault. Meanwhile, the colleague breaks down when she sends him nothing but a thank you note and goes to drink with the chameleon girl. The male lead allows the female lead to sleep in a proper room instead of the storage room. Feeling relieved thanks to her comfort, his mother visits him, bringing food. He suddenly falls ill. He is rushed to the doctor, who diagnoses him with gastritis, warning him against drinking alcohol. The homeless man cooks sweets for them, which impresses the male lead, but he ends up kicking him out. The female lead meets her colleague again, who confronts her, but the chameleon girl interrupts them and insults her, saying she suits a poor person like him. The male lead intervenes, announcing that he and the female lead are going to get married, leaving the colleague in shock. The female lead later tells her colleague that she only sees him as a friend and confesses her love for the male lead, saying she would die without him. She returns to the male lead distracted, remembering the chameleon girl's lies. He too spends the night sleeping in his car, feeling troubled. The next morning, she accuses him of still being with the chameleon girl, but he shocks her by saying he ended his relationship with her, and now they can finally be together. We see her taking 3 young girls out of the venue because they are still underage. All of this happens while the cafe owner secretly films them from behind the trees. Then we go to the female lead sitting happily with the male lead as they eat together. The chameleon girl appears, and when she sees them, she is shocked. The female lead feels embarrassed and gets up quickly, but the male lead grabs her and says, "You did nothing wrong." Then he tells the chameleon girl that he loves the female lead and asks her not to come again without permission. So she leaves annoyed and calls the female lead's colleague to tell him that she is living with the male lead. He gets angry and rushes there, entering inside annoyed. He tries to take the female lead, saying let's go, but the male lead blocks him and they start to fight. When the female lead tries to separate them, she ends up getting hit and receives an accidental blow. Everyone rushes to check on her. She later goes out to talk to her colleague and tells him she won't go with him. He says he won't leave her, then walks away. He takes her to his home, and she begins to remember her memories with him and how much he cared for her, which makes her sad. In the morning, he finds her asleep, having prepared food for him in the fridge. When she goes to work, the male lead takes her to the kitchen, angry because she had been staying at her colleague's house. Suddenly, the police arrive and everyone is taken to the precinct. The officer shows them a video of someone filming underage girls at their place and wonders if someone had sent them on purpose. The officer takes all of their names and releases them easily, but the place is banned from opening for a certain period. After that, the male lead takes the female lead to the beach. She craves octopus, and when they ask at the restaurant, the woman tells them it is sold out. The male lead notices her disappointment, so he tells him he is going to the restroom, but he actually goes to ask at the restaurant. When he doesn't find any, someone tells him where he can catch one. He returns with an octopus. The female lead asks him why he is completely wet, and he replies, "Completely wet? This is sweat." Oh, how romantic you are. The female lead begins to prepare the dishes that the old man she used to always feed had taught her. And we see him with her in the kitchen as well, making sweets. The food is highly praised by the customers. We then see the female lead's brother arriving at the male lead's house. He asks Song about the owner of the house, and Song tells him he's inside. He goes inside and sits with him, and the male lead realizes he's the female lead's brother who came to check on her work. When the female lead sees him, she takes him outside and begs him never to return there again, so he leaves. Meanwhile, the chameleon girl decides to make a plan to damage the male lead's car. She causes an accident, and when the male lead finds out, he rushes to the hospital. The female lead sees him leaving and asks, "Where are you going?" And he says, "It won't take long." When he arrives at the hospital, the chameleon girl's mother slaps him, saying, "Wasn't it enough that you killed my son? Do you want to kill my daughter too?" When the chameleon girl wakes up, she tells her mother that she did this because her parents and her brother abandoned her. And even the male lead left her, so she had no one, and that is why she stayed with him, and she cries. The male lead goes out and sits next to her mother, apologizing. She tells him that he must get engaged to her daughter so she won't hurt herself again. Even though she was against the idea before, she agrees now for the sake of her daughter. We go to Song, who is walking with his girlfriend, when suddenly people appear wanting to take him back to his village. She tries to defend him, but one of them tells her that they are taking the prince back, and she shouldn't worry about him. And we go to the female lead, who keeps calling the male lead, but he doesn't answer. He is with his brother, telling him everything that happened. His brother tells him that this is his life and he must choose what he sees fit. The female lead talks to her friend about what happened with Song and says they won't be able to reopen the place as long as they are missing. In the morning at the hospital, the male lead listens to the female lead's voice messages. The chameleon girl comes out of her room and tells him she wants to go for a walk in the fresh air. He takes her to the garden and she asks him to get engaged. The male lead is shocked by her request and tells her that is not possible, but she interrupts him, saying that her mother agreed and asked her to complete the engagement first and then marry later. The male lead remains silent, unable to respond. We return to the female lead, who buys a glowing owl for the male lead and goes to find him sitting in his room. She places the owl in front of him, saying, "This is a gift. You can turn it on and off while keeping the rest of the lights out so you won't be afraid of the dark." She notices his silence and asks him what happened. He tells her that the chameleon girl hurt herself because of him and had an accident. He apologizes and says he must get engaged to her and break up with the female lead. She is shocked and asks him about their relationship, then hugs him, saying they cannot break up. He pulls her hands away and the female lead bursts into tears. She packs her clothes in a bag, goes downstairs, and tells the male lead she is leaving. He doesn't answer. She leaves, and Lee sees her and asks her where she is going. She says she has nowhere to go. Lee takes her to her house, and they sit drinking and sharing their stories. Lee tells her the reason for her divorce, which is that she was unfortunately diagnosed with cancer, and her husband cheated on her and abandoned her because of it. They bond and burst into tears together. After that, Lee goes to the bar and sits there. When the female lead comes out of the kitchen, Lee tells her that the male lead probably won't be back tonight. Then the female lead receives a call from Song. She and Lee go to a large hotel, and Lee says that Song asked them to come to the royal suite. When they enter, the woman who was chasing him appears and demands that they show respect to the prince. When he enters, he asks them to sit and serves them food. Lee is amazed, and he shows her many toys he bought for her. Later, we see Lee and the female lead returning in a car full of stuffed animals. The female lead asks Lee about her relationship with Song. Lee says that when they were trapped in the store, he told her he liked her, and she told him about her husband and the reason for her divorce, and he has loved her ever since. The female lead praises her, saying, "Don't speak of yourself like that. You are truly beautiful." Lee is pleased with her words. The doctor visits the male lead, who is sitting looking at photos of the female lead. The doctor tells him that her presence made a difference in his life because when she was with him, he was fine and didn't take medication, and he advises him to hold on to her. The male lead contemplates his words. His mother comes in the morning while he is asleep and scolds him. She tells him that the doctor told her everything and asks him to leave the chameleon girl, saying he has given them enough and must now take care of himself. But he tells her he will marry the chameleon girl and leave. His mother goes to the chameleon girl's mother to stop this marriage. There, the chameleon girl's mother tells her that she allowed the engagement out of fear for her daughter and that she cannot refuse now. We go to the female lead, who is shocked to see her mother in front of her. Her mother takes her and leaves with her. The female lead begs her to let her stay, promising to compensate her, but her mother refuses. Her mother remembers her father, who died because of debt, and says she won't allow her daughter to work in a place like this. The chameleon girl sits with her friends. One of them asks her how she can marry the male lead when he was the cause of her brother's death. The male lead is present there and ends up in a fight with him. She takes him away, and later, while they are in bed, nightmares begin to haunt him. She quickly turns on the light when he begs her, so he calms down and falls asleep. We see the female lead and her siblings sitting on the floor, begging their mother to let them leave this time. The colleague arrives and reassures her, and she thanks him for comforting her siblings. He tells her it is late and suggests they spend the night and leave in the morning. He takes the younger siblings with him. When her mother falls asleep, the female lead calls the male lead and tells him what happened. She tells him that if he asks her to stay, she will do so and won't leave. She knows that what he is doing is against his will, but she says she will still love him, so he asks her not to love him because he is worthless, then hangs up the phone, so she cries bitterly. After that, we see that she has indeed returned to the village. She sits in her mother's restaurant, helping her and looking sad. She later goes to visit her father's grave, tells him that she misses him, and cries, saying she misses the male lead too. Meanwhile, the male lead is with the chameleon girl at a clothing store, but his mind is full of memories of the female lead. In the morning, the female lead's brother goes to the male lead and tells him that their mother has brought a groom for her and is insisting on him. The male lead calls her while she is in the kitchen. She answers and he asks her, "Why did you leave the cat without taking it?" She says, "Are you calling me just to say that I left the cat? All right, dear, I will come and take it." Then he asks her about the groom, clearly annoyed, and tells him he will send money as a wedding gift. She starts to cry, saying he is hurting her more than before. She says, "I was just sitting here wishing to hear your voice," and screams in his face, asking him never to call her again. Her mother sees her crying and feels sad for her. Later, her mother takes her shopping and buys her clothes. The female lead returns home and helps her mother. Her mother told her she saw her crying and asks her if she fell in love with someone and broke up, and the female lead confesses yes. Her mother gives her money and asks her to go back, rent a comfortable apartment, and work until she saves enough money to study. The female lead promises to do her best. We see the male lead lying on the bed holding the glowing owl she gifted him. In the morning, her mother takes her to the station, gives her food she prepared, and asks her to call her brother to check the apartment she will live in. They hug, and the female lead thanks her. She arrives and puts the food in the fridge, and her colleague is happy about her return. They sit and talk, and she asks him about her brother. We see her brother outside celebrating and meeting a girl. Meanwhile, the female lead searches for an apartment but doesn't find anything that fits her budget. She calls her colleague to tell him, and he says he found one for her and takes to see it. We transition to the male lead's father, who goes to his mother, hands her a check, and tells her she must take the male lead and leave the country, out of fear for him. Returning to the female lead, she sees the apartment and likes it very much, and she is happy to learn that the rent is not very high. Her colleague goes out to talk to the landlord, secretly telling him to only take the amount agreed upon between them, while he covers the rest. It turns out the apartment was actually expensive, but the colleague sacrifices for her. The female lead begins to arrange the place. She happily goes out with her things onto the balcony to wipe her photos, all so she won't leave any trace of the male lead in her life, and she says, finally, it's over with the male lead. We transition to Lee, who goes up to remove the store closure notice, and hears the cafe owner talking on the phone, asking someone to get rid of the high school girls by any means possible, and he tells them that he closed the shop, and they will go crazy because they want the the money he promised them. Immediately, Lee realizes who was hiring those girls and runs to tell the male lead, but he interrupts her and hands her a flyer stating that they need a cook. When she sees it, she is surprised because this is the female lead's job, but he ignores her and asks her to hang it up and prepare for the grand reopening. And he does not tell her that the female lead won't be working anymore. We transition to the male lead's mother, who goes to the chameleon girl's mother and discovers she told her daughter that she didn't agree to the engagement or the marriage.
So she says, "Look, ma'am, I will take my son and leave this town, and we will emigrate." After that, she goes to him, gives him the papers, and tells him they will leave the country and write to him. But he says he won't leave. Suddenly, the female lead appears with the cat, leaves it, and walks away. The male lead runs after her, asking her not to take the cat. She feels confused and says, "You are the one who told me to come and take it." Then the cat runs away from them completely, as if to say, "Spare me this ridiculousness the two of you are in." They go to search for it. Don't they find it? Then they go inside and see it playing. The male lead tends to her hands because the cat scratched her, and she apologizes for always hurting him. The female lead pets the cat and leaves crying in the street. We go to Lee, who decides to take matters into her own hands, giving a flash drive to the female employee working at the cafe, asking her to copy the videos of the young girls. After that, Lee goes to threaten them, saying she will report to the police now that she has proof. Then she tells the male lead what happened and says they must make the cafe owner compensate them for the time the shop was closed. And from his face, she realizes that he saw the female lead and that he is sad. Without thinking of anything else, she organizes a small party for the new house, saying that if he wants to go, the female lead will surely welcome him. At the female lead's house, Lee, Song, and the man who always helps her with cooking arrive loaded with gifts. Meanwhile, the male lead is with the chameleon girl shopping for an engagement ring. She doesn't like anything, and when he suggests going to eat, she refuses and asks him to leave her alone, saying she will go by herself. At the same time, the female lead is with the chef visiting a grave. He tells her it is his daughter's grave and shares his story with her. He had left his country when she was 2 years old and became a famous chef in France, and when she turned 20, she called him telling him she was getting married and needed him by her side. At that time, he had an important cooking competition, so he didn't return. Later, he found out she had an accident and died. He only returned to attend her funeral and decided never to leave again. He cries, and the female lead is moved, trying to comfort him. He says that when she baked the pie for him, it reminded him of his daughter. And the female lead tells him she felt he was like a father to her too. He suggests that she come with him to France, and that this time he will go with her. She will study and work in his restaurant. The female lead feels excited and enthusiastic. The female lead tells her colleague everything about the chef and shows him his picture, and he realizes that he is indeed a famous chef. She tells him about the offer to study in France and asks for his opinion, so he asks her to follow her heart. She begins searching for the details of studying in France. She even reconciles with the employee Hyan, who had scammed her before. When Hyan sees her, she runs away, but the female lead chases her until they are both exhausted. The female lead slaps her, and Hyan confesses that she too was scammed by a man who took everything from her and then left with another woman. She cries, saying she will work and pay her money back. We transition to the male lead sitting when the chameleon girl comes asking him to go out together. We see them shopping together, she buys him gifts, they eat, and she says she is very happy with this day. And when he suggests going out again, she refuses, saying she won't see him anymore because her presence with him hurts her. And when he denies it, she asks him if he loves her, and he is unable to speak. So she says his silence is proof that they must separate. She gives him a final hug and says, "From now on, we will just be friends, and I won't bother him anymore." She leaves and goes to the female lead's colleague, telling him that she broke up with the male lead. He asks her if she is okay. She replies, "Of course I am, rich and beautiful. I went through some drama, but what could really bother me?" He asks her if the female lead still wants to study abroad, and if she is considering staying with the male lead. She says to him, no, she gave up on this idea. Later, the chef goes to the bar, finds the male lead drunk, and tells him he came to say goodbye before leaving, so the male lead says goodbye to him. The chef continues, informing him that the female lead is traveling with him, which shocks the male lead. The female lead then leaves her colleague's house with her travel gear, yelling in her brother's face, telling him that he must stay in her apartment, find a job, pay the rent, and stop being a burden to her colleague. The male lead actually sits with a chameleon girl, but she has become a nice chameleon now, dear viewer. He says to her, "Your hair is beautiful today." She laughs, saying, "Now you tell me I'm beautiful. We are just friends now, dear viewer." She reveals that she has already told his parents about their breakup, that she won't travel, and they won't even sell the grandfather's house, and she asks him if he has told the female lead his true feelings, so he says he didn't and never will. The next day, he visits Wagner and they sit together. She apologizes, recalling the day of the accident, saying that every time she saw him enduring, she blamed him. The male lead breaks down in tears. She continues to apologize, telling him she forgives him and that he must forgive himself too, and that it is time to let his friend rest. And the promised day arrives. The female lead's colleague takes her to the airport. She tells him he is the best friend in the world and asks him to go back to work and not be late because of her. And when she arrives, she calls him. The male lead wakes up and Lee tells him he is late. He realizes the female lead has left, so he speeds in his car trying to stop her, wanting to confess his feelings, but she has already entered the airport, and the chef is waiting for her. As she walks, she continues searching for the male lead around her, but he only arrives after she has boarded the plane. The chef sees her discomfort and tells her that if she regrets it, she can go back, but she refuses, saying her decision is final.
6 months later, we see Lee hanging a banner for the shop's second anniversary. Also, the male lead visits the female lead's brother, and it is clear they have become close, and he brings him a pie. When he enters, the surprise for us, dear viewer, is that he finds the female lead waking up startled to find him sitting next to her. She asks him, "Why are you here?" And he replies, "Because this is my house. What are you doing here?" They go out and sit with her brother, who laughs and says, "What is this? I thought you two would burst into tears of sadness and longing for each other, and all that drama." And the female lead discovers that the male lead had been visiting him daily to check on him, find out her news, and see her pictures. The female lead then leaves for a large restaurant. The male lead follows her and discovers that she is working there now and won't return to France, so he takes her back to his grandfather's house. They talk and reconcile. The male lead's father goes to his mother, gives her a wedding ring, saying he wants her back. And they reconcile as well, and he continues begging her to agree, saying, "Oh, destroy me with your romance, man." Meanwhile, the female lead's colleague and the nice chameleon work together, and it is obvious they have become extremely close, and perhaps fallen in love, and the female lead's brother works in the shop and is happy. Finally, the male lead and the female lead agree to get married. And that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Until we meet again soon, don't forget to show your support by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye, my wonderful friends.